Welcome to another episode of Scottish Football Matters with me, Murray, my good friend Lorenzo. This week we're going to talk about the European games, where, let's be honest, Rangers and Aberdeen really let the country down. Coefficient wise, and Celtic managed to battle to a victory, albeit without playing very well, but a win is a win. Rangers and Aberdeen will be taking that.
Yep.
And we are going to have a preview of this weekend's game where I think, as we're going to go on to, we've got six very, very close games where I think you would not be surprised if they all ended in draws or either side won them. So, going to have a wee chat on that and put in a wee predictions for the weekend. So, how
Yep.
are you tonight, Lorenzo? You good?
Yeah, I'm good. Obviously, watched the football last night. Didn't enjoy the first half. Enjoyed the second half. That's life.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy any halves of the Rangers game,
No, you
but
didn't have any wee whiskies, a wee half, no.
no, doing better with whiskey, but no, I mean, if we start on Aberdeen, I think it's the best place to start. They're dropping in at 6-0. I mean, we've seen Rangers get the same result against Bruges, and sometimes you need to say that that team are just a way better. But
Mhm.
I think Aberdeen have got to be really disappointed with that because the Rangers, you kind of understood it because there was a red card after, 9 minutes?
Yep.
So when you get crazy results like that, you go, okay, what went wrong? And with Rangers, you could point to red card early on. It happens. But Aberdeen, there's no real excuse. And it's a
No.
team that are on the back of two good wins in the SPL against Dundee and St Mirren. I expected them to lose, but I didn't think it would go down like that.
No.
And I think, the pressure's back on Jimmy Keelan just by one result. I thought the two results domestically was going to take the pressure off, but as we've seen with Russell Martin, when you get such a bad result, you need to back it up with positivity. And if they
Well,
don't against a good side like Hibs, you could
well,
be in
we
trouble again.
we did do the predictions last week, and well, I think we both I think I predicted 3-1 to AK Athens, and you predicted 2-1 to AK
I
Athens.
think
So
I
I
got
was
three
closer.
points all
I
right.
was closer
I
to the
got the
result
Celtic
than you
one
were.
right. Aye,
So did
I got
I.
the Celtic one right, but I
So did
got
I.
the Rangers and Aberdeen ones wrong. But fair play to AK Athens. But by the way, not even fair play. It could have been about 20 now. It
Oh,
was that one sided.
it was an onslaught.
At least with Rangers, you can go, fair enough, new manager, and they scored most of the chances they created. But
But
if
you did
AK
say
had scored,
you,
if AK had scored the most of the chances created,
mhm.
we'd have been talking double figures.
You did say though that you thought that Rangers would get a new manager bounce. It didn't happen.
Well, I did, but I thought, yeah, but I felt the new manager bounces for the weekend. I really did. I think that after all the press conferences, I mean, you seen it on Tuesday, it was just mad when it was like press conferences with everyone in their dug. Wednesday, you're travelling out to Norway. I don't think we can judge this guy on that because he's not at any time on the
But I
training
did
pitch there.
one training session was it or something
Yeah,
like that? Yeah.
exactly. So, but I'll be quick to judge him on Sunday because I don't think you can really prepare for a team like Brann. You can watch games, but you never know in Europe how teams are going to play. But in league,
Okay.
you know how Kelly are going to play. They're going to come, they're going to set up to defend, and they're going to try and counter attack you. If you're not ready for that, you've not done any preparation. So I think we'll see, won't we? The proof will be in the pudding
Yeah.
on Sunday, which is when they start judging Danny Rowe.
Mhm.
But on to
Yeah.
Celtic, because what I would say is the only thing I criticised Rule about was his team selection. He must have looked at that brand team and went, there's about five players over 6'3". To start Magoma left back over Cornelius, who maybe would have given you more height.
Does he know who they
But,
are yet? He obviously doesn't know who they are yet. He's only been there, what, 5 minutes?
but I'd like to think, though, that if we come up against a team like Bran again, which I think we will when we play a team like Ludogorets later on,
Yeah.
they're Bulgarian, they're tough to beat, they're solid. You need to outfight them first. and we
Yeah.
didn't do that last night. But on to Celtic, I felt it's very much a game of two halves. Sturm Graz absolutely dominated the first half, scored a wonder goal, but they also hit the post, had other chances where they could have been out of sight.
That's right.
But sometimes you go in at half time and you're 1-0 down, you're like, oh, so bad.
Yeah.
And Celtic came out with a different attitude, and I felt that, well, in Celtic's defence, I think the injuries disrupted the first half. Like,
Certainly did.
Iheanacho after 4 minutes, and then losing.
But 20 minutes, Alistair Johnson.
After about 28,
20 minutes.
I think that was after the goal, and I felt like it was really, it was stop-start, which suited the away team.
What I will say though, what I'll say though is, I don't know why he started Johnson in the first place. He could have started Donovan or even Ralston and brought Johnson on kind of late in the game.
It's all hindsight, because
we know that.
A lot of people look at it and go, get him back in, get him an hour.
But you don't rush somebody back straight after a hamstring injury, though, do you?
I think there's certain injuries you bring them back quicker, but I don't think you do it with hamstrings.
No.
But I mean,
good goals. Good goal from what's their name again? Sturm Graz. Good goal for Sturm Graz.
Was a brilliant finish. Very similar to the boy Sibbald for Dundee United. Very similar, but you just go, we could have closed them down better, but fuck me, what a finish.
And the amount of chances, the amount of chances that Benjamin Nygren had before he actually scored. I mean, he could have had about 4 or 5 in the game.
But I like that, and I know you maybe disagree, and you think that you look at it as a negative, but I look at it as a positive. That, like, when we had Dessers, right, like, he would miss 5 and score the 6, but I love that attitude, that the amount of times he goes to the well and he doesn't get his head down. By the way, you can also look at it as, if you weren't so push in front of goal, this game would have been over.
But I suppose a good thing. The way to look at it is, a good thing about it is he's in there and he's in the positions to get the chances. That's the positive. That's a positive thing.
He had more chances last night than I think Rangers have created from the off scheme his whole time here. So that's a similarity. Do you know what I mean? And you go, oh well, I mean, you look at it that way, but I do like that he didn't get his head down. Where I will say is Johnny Kenny's a different one, because I thought his movement was fantastic. He got into great positions, but his finishing was terrible.
Oh, of course,
But he might need to leak the line on Sunday. We'll get to that, but how are you feeling though in the back of that about the big 3 injuries? Because it's looking like, from what I've heard, Johnston's out for 3 to 4 weeks again.
Right. And I already know Carter Vickers is about 5 months.
5 months. And Iheanacho's out for the weekend.
Oh, well, the Iheanacho one, I'm gutted about the other 2 players, obviously.
I don't know if he'll be back for Falkirk. I think it's more likely that you don't risk him against Falkirk, because, let's be honest, it's Falkirk at home. But you'd want him back in for the derby next weekend.
But I'm gutted for obviously Alistair Johnson coming back after the long layoff that he had since August. And then obviously Carter Vickers at the end. That was horrific, seeing him like that. But
he's always been a bit of a player that picks up injuries.
He does. He's quite injury prone, but that means now that we're going to have to do something like, if Trusty's fit, we bring him back. Don't know. Trusty's not even been in a squad for ages. I know that he's got that plantar fasciitis. I don't know. I don't know how that's coming along, or how bad or whatever.
You need to start using Simpson Pierce. Kieran at centre back, or Ian Moura.
Well, Ian Moura go with a back 3.
Obviously the boy.
Shin's obviously going to have to come into the squad as well because of the injury to Iheanacho. Yeah.
But he might need to be used, because what I would say that is, if Kenny doesn't get a goal soon,
Johnny Kenny's not going to be good enough.
By the way, I do think that getting the right chances is half the battle. Getting the right position is half the battle. But you need a goal to get the confidence. I
know. He's not convinced me though. He's definitely not. And any time I've seen him, I know he's scored a goal before and started 2 goals. He scored a goal. He scored a goal this season. He scored a goal last season, but he's still no he's still not convincing enough for
But
me.
I remember, look at last night where he did brilliant to rob the ball in the right wing.
Yeah, and he runs through. He runs through.
No composure.
What annoyed me about that was the fact that he's taking it with his right foot instead of actually curling it into his left. And he might not be left.
If he takes
He
his
might
right foot, but pick a spot. It was just one of those like, I'm gonna try and hit it across the keeper. But
and it's clear.
A good striker, if you're right-footed, smashes it or picks a spot.
Mm-hmm. It's clear to see that he's obviously right-footed, right? But even if you can even pass the ball into the goal with your left foot, you don't need a shot. Try and at least pass it. Like take it past the goalkeeper even and try and pass it in.
Not to compare them, but how many times did you see Alfredo Morelos do that sort of thing? He picks somebody, he runs in and goals.
Yeah.
He was all right-footed, but he done in that position. He didn't try to cut in his left. He put his foot through it.
Mm-hmm.
And he often blasted it into the roof of the net because, it's what to do. Hit the target. That's the key in it.
That's it.
You can't, and, you need, well, if you go on his left foot, you might not hit the target. If you try to go across the goal, you're not going to hit the target 9 times out of 10, but you need to just put your foot through it.
Yeah. You know the old saying? If you don't buy a ticket, you don't win the raffle.
Yeah. But I think he's getting in the positions, which is a good sign. But until he gets a goal and then can kick on for there, it's a problem.
Well, what I will say is goals breed confidence, and if he gets a goal, then he becomes confident.
If he gets one goal at the weekend, people won't be moaning about him starting against Celtic.
Aye, but how many
goes without a goal?
In the last 2 years, how many goals has he scored?
Grand total of hee-haw.
Is that right?
I
thought he'd scored about 2 goals. I thought he'd scored a goal for each year.
Whereas at least Johnny Kenny scored goals for Shamrock, wasn't it?
Shamrock Rovers, that's right.
Yep. He scored in the Conference League, didn't he? He scored at that level. So, what I would say though is there's a difference between a clinical striker going through on goal and not. And you've seen Iheanacho go through on goal when he shows composure. You've seen players like Majowski go through on goal and he's got a bit of composure about him,
But the one thing I will say is that Iheanacho has got loads of bags of experience. Obviously, Johnny Kenny isn't anywhere near that.
You need to gain it, But that's where I think you can look at Chermiti and that and say the same thing. He doesn't have experience, but they both need a goal. They're begging for a goal.
In terms of Shin Yamada, I mean, in Japan, I'm pretty sure he was. Pretty sure in Japan he was the top goal scorer. Maybe is it last season? The season before?
I know. One goal.
I know it's no Europe. I know it's not a European league, but to be top goal scorer in your national league, it's a good thing, obviously. But he needs a chance. He needs a chance.
But Danilo is like judging Danilo on the fact that he doesn't play. You can't. I'll still say this right now. Danilo's our best striker in terms of if there's a chance.
Mm-hmm. Who knows?
Him as he doesn't get involved himself enough.
Who knows? Which Shin could be our best striker? We just need to play him and find out.
Imagine it, mate. Next week we're watching a derby match at Hampden. We'll get Yamada at one end and Danilo at the other.
Oh, I know.
You'd never have predicted that a few weeks ago.
I know, exactly. Well, if what you're saying is correct, then I'm hopeful that Iheanacho will be fit for that game.
It seems like he's definitely out for Hearts, but could be back next week. But
will he be back for the Fall Cup game midweek? Maybe no, but hopefully he'll be back for the Rangers game.
I think you can get away with the Fall Cup game with Yamada and...
I would actually play... I would probably play Yamada against Falkirk, if I'm honest.
Would you want to be starting a derby at Hampden? And not just a derby, but a semi-final. Doesn't even matter if it's Rangers. Would you want to be starting a semi-final with Kenny or Yamada?
No.
I wouldn't want to be starting with Chermiti.
No. Are you wanting Majowski on for the start then?
I want Majowski or Danilo. I want Majowski and Danilo. I want to see 3-5-2. I've said this for a while. I think Rangers are perfectly set up for 3-5-2.
But is Danny Rohl famous for playing 3-5-2? I mean, I don't know much about the guy.
He has played it, but whether or not he'd do it with us, I don't know. But that means dropping captain. Captain scores a lot of goals but fails a lot of times.
Captain disappointed.
Well, but he's right to be disappointed, but he should be disappointed in himself. because he
That was
was
the
one of the worst ones.
he never said disappointed last night in his post match interview. It was disgraceful, he was saying.
But that was probably just epitomising his own performance. So, but if we're going to the weekend, as I said, I think there's 6 massively close games. We start on Saturday, and I'm going to start with a draw because Dundee United St Mum has 1 each written all over it for me. I think Dundee United, you've seen at Ibrox, they've got goals in them, but they're also iffy defensively.
Yep.
Whereas St Mum are a bit better defensively. That's why I'd rather go 2 each down to 1 each because I don't think St Mum lose goals. But I think that's got draw written all over it. I don't know what you think.
I think, although St Mirren they've done really well, and obviously Dundee United have had a kind of
It's
no
at
bad start.
Carnage, so that does make a
Aye,
difference.
aye. I think Dundee United, Jim Goodwin's actually doing all right with them, and obviously so is Stephen Robinson. But I think as it's at Tannadice, I think Dundee United will win it by the odd goal in 3.
Okay.
So 2-1.
So, yeah, what you thinking about Falkirk Dundee? Because Dundee, obviously, we know this happens. See when a team beats Celtic or Rangers, they don't always back it up.
Yeah.
Whereas Falkirk got a great result again against they got a draw against Rangers and then they went to Motherwell and won.
Mm-hmm.
I slightly fancy Falkirk to win this 2-1, but I'm not confident, if you know what I mean, because Dundee showed the real grit and determination. That Congreve was brilliant. But I just think Falkirk have more about them at home.
Yeah. What I'll say is teams like Dundee last week, obviously beating Celtic. I've seen this before with teams where they've put so much effort into the game against us
They still look back up.
that they've been terrible for the rest of the season. I've seen that before with teams.
Maybe
But basically they play that they put so much effort into the game against the champions, whether it's Celtic or Rangers, who's ever champions at the time, and then for the rest of the season they're mince. So I actually fancy Falkirk for that.
Yeah, I think 2-1 Falkirk. I think it'll be close.
It'll be close, but I think Falkirk will edge it.
Another tricky game because Livingston Motherwell on paper should be an away win all day for Motherwell.
It's on the plastic pitch though, isn't it?
But Motherwell showed real frailties after being 1-0 up against Falkirk last week. They looked.
Yeah.
I mean, Motherwell should have been 6-0 up in the first half.
Yeah.
But easily could have lost the second half 4 or 5-0. So, and like you're saying with the plastic pitch and Livingston are quite open. I think they'll give it a good game, and I don't want to say it again, but I'm going to go 2-1, but I'm going to go Motherwell just to edge it. But again, see if we come on Monday and said, "Oh, Livingston won," I wouldn't be surprised. But
I'm the same as you with that one. I think I wouldn't be surprised. I think Motherwell probably will edge it because I think Jens Bertalascu is getting a tune out of the players and he's doing really well. But as I said, I wouldn't be surprised if Livingston got something out of the game.
So on to Sunday, where I think it's harsh to say this is the top 6 teams because I'm not sure what Kelly are, but it's definitely 5 of the top biggest teams in Scotland. We've got Aberdeen Hibs. I fancy a draw, but if anyone's going to win it, I think it's Hibs. I'm going to go 1 each. I
wouldn't disagree.
Just because I think Aberdeen have won the last 2 in the league, and I don't think they'll lose. I think they'll back up with a draw. Hibs are a lot better away from home than they are at home, and I'll bring this up Monday when obviously Rangers are going to play them next Wednesday. I'm far happier that that's the Easter Road than Ibrox. Because I'd fancy Hibs to win at Ibrox. But at Easter Road, I think they're so open and so easy to play against that might actually suit Rangers. But I think if we're talking about Aberdeen Hibs, I just think Aberdeen after the 6-0 drubbing will keep it quite tight. I think they will. It's what happens in it. Whenever you get look Rangers lost 6-0 in Bruges, then came back to the Old Firm and finished 0-0. The reason that game finished 0-0 is because Rangers were too scared to attack.
Aye.
And Celtic were shite that day. So,
well, Celtic were poor that day. Yeah,
whereas if Rangers had actually attacked, it might have created chances for Celtic. Do you know what I mean?
To be fair in Celtic's defence as well, Hibs, whenever anything happened to a Hibs player, he was going doing like a sack of tatties. So
But no, I think I'm going to go one each. Aberdeen Hibs.
And that game is a funny one because obviously you've got Aberdeen who have had a good few decent results recently. The European game aside, obviously, I'm talking about domestically. They've done all right recently, but the team that are playing the better football is Hibs,
Absolutely.
um, and I fancy Hibs to beat Aberdeen.
Okay, so
I'll
go
say
with
I'll say 3-0 Hibs.
oh
There you
agreed.
go. There you
If
go.
that's 3-0, does Jimmy Keelan survive? A 6-0 and a 3-0?
Who knows? I don't think so. But
Mm.
I'm going 3-0 because
Mm.
obviously Hibs done really well last week and
Counter attacking.
they'll be on a
It's
high.
counter attacking. Sometimes you get those results where it's an even game, but some team loses 3-0.
Yeah, and also the fact that Aberdeen took such a hammering in
Yeah,
Athens,
Salford.
um, that I think Hibs are playing well at the minute. They've done really well last week. They've had a whole week to prepare. Obviously,
Yeah,
Aberdeen they've travelled to Athens. They're travelling back. I fancy Hibs to win it.
yeah. So at Ibrox, we've obviously got Rangers Kelly, and it is very difficult to predict Rangers games because we know next to bugger all about Danny Rowe.
Mm, mm,
But what we do know about Rangers is they're inconsistent. That
yeah,
the players don't have a lot of fight, don't have a good mentality. But what I would also say about Kilmarnock is they're not that great away from home. So I'm going to edge Rangers in this one, not because I think they're better, because I don't actually. I don't think we're any better than Kelly right now. But I
mm.
think that a home game, Danny Rowe's first game, I think there'll be a decent atmosphere. If there's not a decent atmosphere, there never will be.
Yeah.
But I fancy Rangers to win 3-1, but I actually think
Oh,
it'll be very, very close. And it might even be like a late penalty to end, like to push it out. Do you know what I mean? Or a really like 90th minute third goal to make
penalty
it.
to who? Kilmarnock? Will it be 3-0 to Rangers and
Nah,
Kilmarnock got a penalty in the
nah,
last
it'll be a
minute?
penalty Rangers. Right, you know how that no penalty Rangers. But no, I think
Oh,
it could just be a late goal to really make it look better than it was.
mhm.
But I could
Yeah.
see there being really tough moments, really good moments, bit of both. But I'm going to go 3-1 Rangers. But
Well, I can see where you're coming from. Obviously, with Danny Rowe's first game at Ibrox and stuff like that. Um,
Rangers haven't
I,
won. Rangers won 5 games at Ibrox this calendar year. That's
yeah.
terrible, isn't it?
Well, there you go. I think
But
personally, I think what I think will happen is I think that Kilmarnock might be good enough to get a draw.
they might
Uh,
be. But I
but
just
I
think
wouldn't be
Rangers will
surprised.
sneak it.
I wouldn't be surprised if Rangers did win because it's his first game at home and with the atmosphere and all
You
the
know,
rest
it's
of it.
weird. I'm more confident about a win away to Hibs and at Hampden against Celtic than I am at home to Kelly. Do you want to know why? Because
Why?
Hibs will come at us and leave us gaps. Celtic will attack us and leave us gaps. And
Kilmarnock won't.
Rangers aren't bad at that, but Rangers are not good at breaking down the sides who won't
Aye,
attack.
Kilmarnock will sit in. That's what they'll do.
Yeah, and
Aye,
I think
aye.
Rangers aren't suited to that.
No.
But I'm going to suggest that Rangers come out the traps really well, get a goal, possibly make it two. Kelly get back in it. It gets a bit nervy. And then Rangers get a really late goal to make it look, oh, that was comfortable. But in reality, well, that was terrible.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
The match of the weekend is obviously at Tynecastle. We're top of the league. Hearts 5 points ahead of Celtic. Can Celtic get the gap down to 2? Or the Hearts make it to 8? Or does it stay 5? I have to say, even though Celtic have got all their injury problems, I sometimes think, and I don't think Brendan Rodgers is this elite manager that people talk about, right? I don't believe that. But what I do think he's good at is doing that whole siege mentality and making it out that the world's against Celtic and this injury crisis is like somebody else's fault. And I think he'll get those players up for it. And I think Celtic will sneak it 2-1. But by the way, I don't think it'll be pretty. I can pretty much guarantee that Hearts go for a set piece. But I just think Celtic are just going to edge it. And I'm even going to say that Johnny Kenny will score.
Oh.
and Celtic can sneak it by the odd goal. But I really believe that Hearts will dominate long periods of the match.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
Celtic will I just think, I don't think Brendan Rodgers is a brilliant manager, but I think he's really good when he makes out that the world's against you. And he did that. Do you remember when Clement get Rangers into a title race, right, a couple of
yeah.
years ago?
Mm-hmm.
He was doing all this pish, like acting like the media were against you and the world was against you when no one had said anything. But it almost galvanised your team to go on a run that, by the way, you didn't look like doing at that point.
Yeah, and we did it.
I think that's a good strength of a good manager, that he can almost make up nonsense, but it gets into the players' heads and makes them go. So I think he'll be telling the players all week, Hearts, Hearts think they're the best team in the country. Hearts think they're going to be champions. Tony Bloom's coming up here and laughing at you. I
Yeah,
think he's going to say all those sort of things.
I've heard,
And
I've heard their supporters bragging about it as well. We're going to win the league. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. The
I
league
think
isn't
they'll
won.
get a
The
leg
league.
to
What
bag
I
if they
will
beat
say,
Celtic.
what I have to say is the league isn't won in October. You need to, if you see if you're at the top of the league in May, fair enough.
Like, all you need to say is just look at that Clement first season. When he took over, we were 7 points or 8 points behind you. And
Yeah.
then at one point, we were 4 points clear, although he had
And
a
then
game in hand. But do you know what I
and
mean?
then we ended
So,
up Celtic ended up winning the league by 9 points, I think.
so it just shows you that there's going to be ups and downs.
Yeah.
And, but what I would say, though, is that you can turn around a 7 point gap quite comfortably to be a 7 point gap. You're at 14
I
points.
think
You can
I
win
think
it.
so. I mean, as I said, I think Hearts they're doing all right now, but I do believe at some point within this season that they will have a blip and they will lose games.
Everyone
And I
will.
think I think Celtic can claw the gap back. I'm hoping that Celtic can win on Sunday. They're going to need to have, have an almighty push to do it because obviously we've got the players that are injured. We're going to have to do it with the likes of Johnny Kenny, possibly Shin Yamada. Who knows?
Sometimes
Even
that galvanised the
Jamai
team.
Jamai Simpson Pusey. Who knows?
But that's what I'm saying, is I think he'll use the injuries as being, the world's against you. And it'll motivate those players.
So what you're saying is he's going to use that as an excuse.
No,
Is
he's
that what you're?
going to use it as motivation to get the players to go, this is your chance. Don't, you know how it's like? You can say that, oh, it's unlucky that you get these injuries. He's going to turn it into the world's against us.
Yeah.
They're trying to do a Leicester. They're trying to make sure that Celtic don't win the league, and he's going to get a wee bit of fight out of those players.
Yeah.
By the way, I think it might work on Sunday. I'm not
Could
sure
do.
it'll work. I'm not sure it'll work next Sunday.
No,
Because, quite frankly, I think that game gets decided by a bit of luck.
don't say
Or
penalties. Don't say penalties. I
no, I
couldn't
don't
take
think
another.
it
I
will
couldn't
go.
take another. I couldn't take another penalty shootout. Not after
Well,
last year's one.
I strangely, I'm very confident Rangers win it in normal time. But the weird thing is, I'm so much more confident that we can beat you, but I wouldn't be that confident that we beat Motherwell or St Mirren.
Yeah.
That's a mad thing, isn't it? To be saying, oh, I'm pretty confident we'll beat Celtic. But Motherwell, St Mirren, oh, I don't know about that. And that's where Rangers are right now. But obviously, we'll be back on Monday where we
Yeah.
can talk about the weekend. But we've obviously, for the first time this season, we've got a midweek card.
That's right.
It's fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can't remember all the games, but I know that
Celtic are at home to Falkirk.
Rangers at Easter Road, which is by the way, it's probably the best game Rangers can get before Celtic. Because
Think so?
if there's a team in Scotland that's like Celtic, it's Hibs. Because Hibs don't really know how to attack.
Oh well. They wear green and white as well.
That too, and their fans are arseholes, so that's always fun.
Oh,
Yeah.
steady on. We
But
might get some
there's
Hibs
also
fans
some other
watching
good games.
this.
I'm
We might get some
fairly
Hibs
sure that
fans watching this, Murray. We might get some Hibs fans watching this.
maybe like me. But I'm pretty sure his Hearts got. I can't remember who Hearts have got. I want to say Hearts St Mirren.
Well, it'll be on the BBC.
Aye,
If you've got the BBC app
cool.
on your phone, you'll see it.
Aye, we'll quickly check. But yeah, there's some other good games on Wednesday. I think they're all Wednesday, but it then leads into, as I said, a big weekend of the semi-finals.
Yeah.
I don't think right now I could confidently predict the Motherwell St Mum or the Rangers Celtic games.
Mm. I agree. I agree. It's going to be one of the ones where you're just going to have to watch it, see what happens.
Yeah, but we'll obviously reconvene next week, and but I do think that I think for Rangers to have any chance against Celtic, they need to win against Kilmarnock and Hibs. I think they need to go into that game with confidence.
You mean you need to put a run of results together to gain
Uh,
momentum, basically. Yeah.
I think we need momentum going into that game. And even forget Kelly, we need to beat Hibs. We need to be going into the game on a victory to have confidence. I don't think we can go into a Celtic game without confidence. See if we go
Yeah.
to Easter Road and get battered, which we could do. I don't think we can. I don't think we're mentally strong enough to overcome that in a few days. Whereas I do think that we could be okay at playing that game with confidence. I think we would maybe, and by the way, it's mad to think in it that like you could go into that game with the likes of Simpson Pusey playing or Fernandez,
Shin Yamada. Shin Yamada.
Danilo, Inciala could come back in because it's a new manager, right?
Osmond.
He doesn't just go. Let's get Bayrami. Where's he been? He could come back in.
Even Osmond, Callum Osmond.
You wouldn't be surprised. I mean, but then at the same time, you wouldn't be surprised to see the usual suspects of Tav, McGregor, all in about there. So Forrest kicking about for his like, I don't know, 85th cup game at Hampden or something. But
don't know.
But I think we'll obviously see where next week brings us. But I genuinely, like, honestly, I don't know what the odds would be. But see if you put on 6 draws this weekend, like you wouldn't go far wrong.
No, you might not be far off it.
I don't see any. I don't think we're going to come on here on Monday night and say, "Oh, that was a comfortable 4-0." I think they're all going to be draws, 2-1s, maybe 2-0s, but close. So yeah, it should be fun.
Yeah.
We'll see what the weekend brings. I'd like to think it brings a Rangers win, but I doubt that.
Just wait and see.
We'll see. We've got to be due a Rangers win. It's not like, was it 1 out of 8?
That's right.
Certainly not what Meatloaf said. He did not say 1 out of 8 ain't bad. He said 2 out of 3. 1 out of 8 shite.
25-8.
Yeah. What's that? I know. Just 24/7, man. Just leave it where it is. They still try to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same at 110%. First person to say that should be.
You can't do more than 100%, so that's just stupid.
Exactly. I mean, stop trying to pretend that we can. Fuck it. Well, why stop at 110? Why don't go at 120?
And there's only 24 hours. There's only 24 hours in a day and 7 days in a week, so you can't work 25/8. So that's just nonsense.
Apparently, well, not Kevin Fowler. Apparently, you can work 25/8. I mean, don't know headache days in a week. Well, it's certainly
that's up to him.
It's certainly not an 8th day at Rangers called Fun Day because we've had Yeehaw Fun. So
Sunday Fun Day.
Maybe there's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then there's Morning Day where we mourn the Rangers defeat. Maybe they get an extra day at Ibrox to go through the defeat. But we'll leave it there and we'll see where we're at on Monday.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
See you later.
Thanks, mate. Cheers. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.